Good afternoon and good evening. My name is Yochai Benavi. I'm the Senior Global Policy Manager at Mozilla working on our public policy team. And we're here to talk about EcoRating, the EcoRating Innovation Challenge. This is our second information session, the case for EcoRating. So today we'll talk a little bit about the challenge mission, some of the key needs. We'll talk a little bit about the definition of EcoRating, what do some of these terms mean, as well as Mozilla's broader approach to this issue, the shared global challenge of connecting the unconnected. So let's get through into this. Why are we doing this? I think with the EcoRating Innovation Challenge, we're hoping to catalyze new thinking and innovation in providing access to the full diversity of the open internet. We want to stimulate new conversations. I think there's no single silver bullet or a single company, nor should there be, that will bring everyone online. And so we want to help build a community of people who are thinking about providing access, about cultivating digital literacy, about enabling, making the internet ecosystem available to everyone. And we want to see new experiments and things about that. And I think that we need, in order to really make that real, to make that possible, we need radical participation. This is not just about a couple of people in San Francisco or New York or London or Delhi or even Lagos. There are people all over the world who are thinking about this issue, who are thinking about this challenge, who are coming up with solutions. And so we really want to bring a lot of people into this debate and into finding new creative solutions and action-oriented thinking to bring the internet to all. And so there are a couple key dates I want to hit on as we look at the submission process here. Submissions are now open. Submissions will close on January 6th. January 6th, don't forget that. We'll announce the winners of the semifinalists on January 17th. And then those semifinalists will go into a period of mentorship. I think one of the most interesting parts of this challenge is, in addition to providing funding, we're also providing expert mentorship. And so the semifinalists will work with their mentors for some time, and then on March 9th, at a full-day event in New York, we'll have a demo day. So the semifinalists will get up there, they'll pitch their ideas, they'll showcase some of the really, I'm sure, incredible solutions that we haven't even dreamed up yet, and show those off. And then there will be a period of community voting. Again, that notion of participation is really important, bringing people into this process. And then finally, we'll announce the winners on March 29th at RightsCon in Brussels. And so again, it's a couple of key dates. Submission deadline, January 6th. But don't forget, mark your calendar. January 17th, the semifinals will be announced. And then the grand prize will be $125,000. Runner-up for $75,000. And then the most novel submissions, or the most creative new idea, will be awarded $30,000, and we'll be handing out those prizes at the end of March at RightsCon in Brussels. So let's get into what is EcoRating. I think most people know Mozilla as the friendly folks behind their favorite browser, but we also have this initiative called EcoRating, and Mozilla has two separate but related goals here. The first is to connect the unconnected, bringing all of the internet to all people. And the second question I think we have to ask is what are people connecting to, right? I think, we hope, we want, we believe the full diversity of the open internet. And that's about defending openness as well as just access. And I think that's where these two ideas come together. And EcoRating builds off of Mozilla's very strong commitment to net neutrality. And they start with the same very simple core concept that all traffic should be treated equally. And in that kind of environment, users can choose the content they want to see based on the quality of that content, and not just the financial power of a single provider or the business relationships of a provider or a couple providers. And why do we care? Why, full diversity of the open internet, why is that such a big deal? Why, can we not sort of say, isn't some internet better than all? I think we believe that if you want to unlock the full potential and power of the internet, whether that's for education or for gender equality or for economic empowerment, or for political participation, or social causes, or any number of other social goods and social benefits, that has to be the full diversity of the open internet. And that's what we're really striving for as part of our work on equal rating. And so in practice, equal rating models have a couple of criteria that we think are important. They meet this notion of content agnostic and free of discrimination. That's your traditional net neutrality requirement, that all traffic is treated equally here. And that they're not subject to gatekeepers is the second criterion. And this is important because gatekeepers almost always have an anti-competition effect, right? When you have a gatekeeper, they have that ability to distort the marketplace, distort how the level playing field works, and makes it a little bit not so level. And so we're very wary about the presence of gatekeepers in any kind of business model. And then finally, they do not allow pay for play. And this is to say that a company could pay to reach users or pay to reach users faster, or where some sites to them will be free and others not. We want to make sure, because then there too, it's important that you're a developer, an innovator in a garage, whether that's in Delhi or Detroit, should be able to compete on the same level playing field as some of the largest Western multinationals. So let's see how this stacks up, right? I'm going to make this very clear. I think with zero rating models, big businesses choose what's best for the user. And under equal rating, the user makes their own decisions about the content they want to see. And under zero rating, the user has access to a limited set of content, a handful, maybe a dozen sites and services, maybe a little bit more than that. But with equal rating, users have access to all content on the internet, full diversity of the open internet. Under zero rating, under most zero rating models, there's a gatekeeper who's controlling what applications, content, sites, and services users can see and have access to. Under equal rating, users control their own experience online. Zero rating generally has a pay-for-play kind of element, not always, but certainly many models do. Under equal rating, the key here is free and open access to the full open internet. And then under zero rating, you have very clearly different data costs different prices. And that sort of treatment of 1 bit, 1 megabyte, one website costs different than another is very central to the notion of zero rating, whereas under equal rating, all data are treated equally. And I think it's important to remember that zero rating is just one type of business model. And we see in zero rating a lot of the same kind of anti-competition and anti-innovation concerns that we associate with more traditional threats to net neutrality, violations of net neutrality. So when we talk about net neutrality, we often talk about throttling, for example. This notion that one website will load faster or slower than its competitor, for example. And we can say that's pretty clearly an anti-competitive effect, right? The company that gets to the user faster, the user can access faster, is the one they're going to use. Whereas, and the same idea is pretty similar here with zero rating. If one website is free and their competitor costs money, which one are you going to use? And I think the promise and the premise of equal rating is that we can and must do better. And we're looking for those kind of innovations. And so what do we mean by that? I mean, I think that the zero rating debate tends to focus very much on the issue of affordability. Sort of how do we make the internet, available in a way that people can afford and that they have the financial means to, and trying to sort of change some of those economics. But I think there are many broader challenges and more complex and varied challenges to access. Infrastructure and affordability get a lot of the attention, but there are other areas as well. I think one of the things that's most interesting about this slide here is the idea that 80% of online content is only available in 1 of 10 languages, which only about 3 billion people speak as their first language. Right? I was just in India last week, where they have enshrined in their constitution 22 different languages. And so I think that we need to look at a broader suite of barriers to access, and that we're also looking for solutions to those broader challenges, to those barrier challenges. And so we're taking a deliberately broad approach to the kinds of solutions we're looking for and would consider as part of the Eco-Rating Innovation Challenge. So I think it might be useful here to sort of go back up maybe to about 10,000 feet to sort of think about what's Mozilla's approach to this space, to this intersection between internet openness and internet access, where net neutrality meets digital inclusion. And we have a three-pronged approach here. We talk a lot about our Eco-Rating Innovation Challenge, and this is part of our approach around open innovation. So that's about catalyzing new thinking, new business models, new innovations, and products for bringing the internet online, but it's also about bringing together a community of people who are thinking about this. The Eco-Rating Innovation Challenge is not about finding a new Mozilla business product or finding the next sort of innovation that we're going to put out. It's about building a community of people who are thinking about providing affordable access, thinking about cultivating digital literacy, about making the internet ecosystem available to people. The second prong of our approach is our work on the policy team, and that's really to say we work with governments and regulators all over the world to think about setting the right conditions, the right sort of environment for providing access and to enabling users to have access to the full diversity of the open internet. So what do the laws and regulations and norms need to look like in order to make that possible? And the third prong of our approach is research. So this is a debate, I think, that is dominated by emotion, by ideology, by rhetoric, and not a whole lot of hard data. And so what we're doing is we're going out around the world, we're partnering with expert researchers around the world to get some hard data, to bring in some sort of real findings, to talk to users about what do they want, what are their demands and their expectations and the incentives that make sense to them. We talk a lot about some barriers at a high level, right, about infrastructure, about affordability, about digital literacy. But I think it's also really important to go to the ground and talk to users and find out what are the barriers that they see and what are the things that are most pressing and concerning to them. And so we'll have findings to share early next year around that research that we think will help to contribute to a more informed and well-rounded debate. And if you have any questions about some of the stuff we've covered here or about this greater area around bringing all of the internet to all people, you can go to ecorating.com. There's a ton of information there. And you can also email us if you have any questions, particularly about your submission before you want to hit submit on that and send that in. We're happy to chat. That's ecorating@mozilla.com. Shoot us a note. And again, just want to remind you that submissions are due on January 6th. So really looking forward to seeing all those. And again, ecorating.com or ecorating@mozilla.com if you have any questions.